Welcome again to the Talking Pictures podcast with hosts Tony Toscano, CC Chambers, and Raquel Baldwin-Horton. And welcome to the Talking Pictures podcast. This is CC Chambers. I am flying solo today. Got my captain's hat on. Tony is doing the family thing, as is Raquel, which leaves little old me here with the podcast. I am at the helm with some really great guys from Dead Film Society. And they're going to go around the table here and introduce themselves and what they do.
Houston Evans, actor, director, writer.
Tyler Bowers, actor.
Cody Rickenow, writer, director.
Zach Johnson, writer, director.
And every time he says his name, I want to go, Zack Attack.
Never heard that one before.
You never?
Yeah,
Never? Ever?
We just figured out the sweet life of Zach and Cody.
like literally
this
like
is
last
like,
month.
This is like a 5-year friendship,
Yeah.
and we just figured that out.
Yeah, I wrote down Zach and Cody. I was like, oh, there it is.
It's been on the table for years, and we just finally now got that joke.
It's
And so before we get into like what you're producing and everything, which I'm somewhat biased to.
so.
What have you seen lately in the theaters?
We all had a bros night and saw Star Trek Beyond.
Saw it. Did you like it?
Worth
I loved it.
Worth it. Oh,
It's-
it's so worth it.
It's awesome because so much of Hollywood movies are like the end of something or like beginning, and Star Trek was just like an adventure. It was just a side adventure.
It didn't take itself too seriously.
It was a fun movie.
It was
just
really
fun.
It's just nice to go see every once in a while with every movie, like the Power Rangers movie.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's gonna be dark like
Yeah.
Batman. Like,
I just
it's-
totally
and-
lost respect for you.
And
they always pitch these movies. They're like, we're gonna make things dark, or we're gonna make things like edgy, and like they don't really. I mean, there's like a heightened sense of drama that they don't go for. They're just like, oh, people die.
Yeah.
And in Star Trek, it's nice that they found like the charm in Star Trek is it's about the crew and it's about the fun interactions between all the characters. Like Spock and Kirk are just the most brotacular bros out there, honestly.
Bones
So
is-
they get the Bones relationship in there.
Bones is just in a constant state of what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like it's fantastic.
Damn it, Jim! I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See, and I didn't like it so much.
You didn't like
Really?
it so much?
What?
No.
Throw that comment down.
No, you can totally tell, like the J.J. Abrams side of it. You can tell he produced it
Yeah.
because of that milky film scene in space. Everything has like that overlit type of, almost like side lit, backlighting,
Right.
but not quite
But
backlighting.
you're like, where's the celestial body that's giving off the
Right.
like, where is it? Yeah.
Yeah. But the terrestrial scenes are, more yellow tone. I was like, did they film this on Kodak? That's an old film throwback. You youngsters probably don't
What's
remember
M
that.
film?
What's
I
this
have
film?
heard of this.
What is this thing called
Is that
film?
Is that the thing you take the pic and then you shake it? It's like Memento. Is that the guy?
Yeah. Is that the stuff you peel off pudding? Pudding tops. I like you guys because I can say weird things and you get it. But now I'm stuck in Seinfeld and filmed pudding tops, saran wrap pudding tops. But I could totally tell J.J. Abrams' reference, or his influence in this. The director's good. I'm not going to say that. But some of the things really bugged me. Well, first off, the alien, she's hot.
Right? You gotta have. You have to have the hot alien.
I would totally turn tail on that. I mean, I'd be like, straight what?
No rules in space, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's no rules in space.
And there's no rules in
They
space.
progressed in whatever star date that is.
Yeah,
so,
whatever.
Yeah. And she was completely hot, and her acting was really good. I like that. But Scotty calling her Lassie like 15 times.
You're like, is that her name?
Like,
Yeah.
and I'm
There was
like,
a point
she's
where I thought it
animal-like, I was like,
Yeah.
come on, girl, come on, And that kind of annoyed me. Is I Lassie, you're with me. I Lassie, and I'm like, I don't see a collie anywhere in here.
I think Carl Urban, this movie, realized that he was Scottish.
Yeah.
Because it seems like they kind of played up like, because Into Darkness was.
You mean Simon Pegg?
Yeah. Well, Simon Pegg, he's Scottish. Sorry, Carl Urban
Is
like
Australian.
New Zealand, I think.
As well.
Or yeah.
But like, I mean his character of like
Oh,
Scotty,
okay.
and like he
Yeah.
seems to go for like that. more.
I will say
those-
this movie does have more Scotty scenes.
He does.
Yeah.
Well, he did.
Sean Penn
Simon
write
Pegg
it?
did.
He was like, I'm writing this.
Co-wrote it with,
I
what was that? Doug. It was
Whatever.
Sulu's husband.
Yeah.
Sulu's husband.
Yeah.
Sulu's husband in the movie.
Yeah.
yeah.
Doug Cho.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah. But like I feel like it's kind of funny because I feel like they played up the stereotypes a lot because I mean you gotta play up Anton Yelchin like
Yeah.
it's-
Oh yeah.
like it's Wessels and Wussels.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
They played that up in the first movie and then they kind of dropped it and I mean Star Trek Into Darkness was just a train wreck.
Yeah, it was
in my book.
like-
it was just
God.
It
a
was
terrible bad movie that just capped off with the worst dedication ever, which is a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing we won't get into.
Yes. But I feel like in this movie they kind of went back to that. Like
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Well, the consensus is that like it feels like a Star Trek, a really long like 2-part episode.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
that goes back to like it's just nice to have like Indiana Jones style where it's like this is just an adventure like
And see, I need more.
Yeah.
You know, like Uhura and Spock and them breaking up. You know, the most sentimental moment of the whole thing is not even when he finds out Spock dies. It's, you know, or Ambassador Spock.
Yeah.
It's when she's like, "Oh, I guess you should take this
Yeah.
back." You know.
yeah.
And him saying, "Well, it's not in our custom." That's the dude way of saying, "I'm gonna hang on to you for a booty call in the future." and it totally is. And Doc calls him out on it. He's like, "So you gave her a tracking device?"
I will say the movie's not perfect, but it moves at such a great pace that you just forgive a lot of stuff and you're like, because you're just having fun. But there is one thing that is perfect, and that is the greatest musical moment of 2016.
Brings it.
Oh, yeah.
In an era where it's pretty every blockbuster they defeat the villain the same way, it was fun to just throw that like
Wild
80s
card.
like wild card
Yeah.
defeating the villains with music
And
like
it's just fun.
yeah,
Yeah, except
and it
for
came
with-
full
with-
circle with the first film, and it was like the song fit with what they were doing. Like it was
Right.
just creative, it was fun, and it's something that you just don't see that often.
I like that, except for everything exploding all at once. It was
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
like.
but it was in sync with the music.
Look,
so.
what was the movie? The Kingsman, where where all their
everyone-
heads
yeah,
explode.
Yeah.
You know, I was like,
Oh, it's so campy. It was
I
so
know.
campy.
Oh.
It was.
Oh, not to say that I do not endorse Kingsman. However,
Yeah.
in the darkness.
But
So-
I do. Kingsman, I thought was a good movie. I really liked it.
we can agree to this.
I mean,
I have to
it's
say, because that was another one where I actually had fun with, where it was almost like. It was another one where I actually had fun with, where it was like, kind of not your stereotypical way of defeating the villain. But, I mean, I agree, it definitely had like some parts it could improve on. But it's just another one where I just enjoyed it and had fun with it. And even though the head's exploding, or like, I should say popping more likely.
Yeah, with a multicolored.
With multicolored, yes.
it like reminded me of that sand stuff. Remember the sand in the water?
Like solid in the water.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
Started to fall apart, yeah, exactly.
That's what it reminded me of. I'm like, oh my god, I haven't played with that since the 4th grade. Magic sand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But going back to Star Trek Beyond, one thing I also love is like I really felt like Captain Kirk had an arc. Like at the beginning, he feels like complacent. He's like, "What am I doing with my life?" Which so relatable.
Was this a footbridge arc or something big? Because I
It was
didn't travel
subtle.
very
I feel
far
like
with that.
it wasn't huge, and that's something I
that's
enjoyed about it. That
yeah,
that didn't-
it was like an episode arc almost. Like
I feel like a lot of movies, what they try to do, and I feel like it comes with the territory of sequels and
Yeah.
coming together, is that they're like, we have to do it so big.
Yeah.
It has to be the biggest, the most big, the best, most biggest of all time. And this one, it was
Kind of like Transformers.
yeah, and sometimes it's
Yeah.
nice when they don't blow up the galaxy,
Which-
and they just get to have an adventure.
But there's like a great comparison because he says something very similar to like what Batman says in the latest Frat Fest. Is he's like, I'm older than my father ever was,
Yeah.
and like you really feel like he feels guilty for that, as opposed to where Batman is just it's just a crappy throwaway line.
And then in relation to that line, you
Yeah.
also get him when he thinks he's going down with the ship.
Yeah.
And he sits there because it's just a similar shot
Of his father.
Of his father, who did go down with the ship. So
Yeah.
you get that feeling. It just brings it all around, and you get
See,
that
and I
moment.
was waiting for them to say that was his father's bike. I was like, say it, so be cliche, do it, do it, do it.
Bravo to Justin Lin for hopping over from Fast and Furious and being like, I know this movie's in space. I know they're stranded on an alien planet, but I will have a ground vehicle chase scene. Because that's why you hired me.
Yeah.
So,
Which he nailed, by the way.
Yeah.
The way that's filmed is just fun.
Which I will say though, like Justin Lin, you've directed like since the second Fast and Furious, or
I think
third?
3.
Yeah, since like the
3 to
so
6.
He directed like 3 Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah.
And he just, I don't know why he can't film a fight scene.
It is.
I feel like
yeah.
what happens?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I feel like it's just, you
Is he
can't
gay?
just dolly around. Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
I'm a pacifist.
But it's just that quick, like,
Cars get me quick.
it's the quick cut
I just
that
can't hit anybody.
it's the quick cut that like only Paul Greengrass has mastered with the Bourne.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everyone tries to do it, but no one does it.
Everything's
correctly.
handheld.
Yeah.
And everything's on motion.
And you're like, what just happened?
It's because when Paul Greengrass does it, it's more of like an impactful it's
Yeah.
like a hit. Like you
Yes.
feel every punch with Jason Bourne.
Yeah.
And there's a design into like the chaos
Yeah.
of what he does. But a lot of these filmmakers, like God help them in the latest X-Men movie with the
Oh.
Wolverine scene
God.
that
Yeah.
happened. Spoilers.
Don't
Like,
even.
It,
just,
yeah.
There is just, it feels like every time the editor's cutting, they're just like,
Yeah.
it looks like they're not even hitting each other. It looks so coordinated. It's just.
Maybe the editors needed to hit each other.
Which,
Really, at this
like,
point,
what it's like now, it's refreshing when you see a fight scene play out. Because I remember when I saw Skyfall, and like, they had a fight scene that was just like, it was a wide shot, and they just let it, the choreograph happen. It was so refreshing.
That was good.
That was
I
Yeah.
did like
the
that.
silhouette fight scene.
Yeah. Like, that's my main complaint with Starship Beyond is, like, fight scenes are a little dull, but like,
his staging otherwise,
Yeah.
he sticks it simple.
Yeah.
He makes power dynamics happen,
Yeah.
and you understand. You're just,
The lighting was consistent.
Yeah,
it was
he-
consistent.
I noticed that.
he shoots the crew in shapes, triangles, squares,
Which-
and it's like,
yeah.
it gives you that
I
sense of they're a
enjoyed that.
team.
You get
like,
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
it takes like 10 minutes into that movie, and you're watching it. And it looks different because it's not.
There's
I don't
no
think
lens
Larry
flares.
Fong shot
There's
the
also
Star
no
Trek.
lens
There's
flares.
also
There's
Which-
no lens flares.
no lens flares.
And you can see the actors' faces.
Yeah,
when
it's
they're
weird.
acting,
Right,
and it's
yeah.
insane. It's really insane. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, why is this so different? And then you're like, okay, I see.
Also, the
Sorry,
way
JJ.
the way JJ shot the previous was like there were so many like close-ups that it felt like he was shooting it for the iPhone, and like it was like just
Hey,
refreshing.
what's wrong with using your iPhone for photos?
No, but like
he meant
he shot it like you should watch this on your iPhone.
Oh, okay.
And it was like refreshing to have 2 shots and like lights, and it was just a nice change of pace.
Yeah. Just have
Because
shots included.
Yeah.
because
They're
you get
established.
more of the team dynamic when you have the whole team and the whole crew in the same shot.
Especially if you're going on a screen that's 40 feet tall, you're gonna get all that info. It's there
yeah,
for you
yeah.
to see.
Yeah.
It's great.
Also,
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Also, they just completely dropped that doctor from the last. Star
Yeah,
Trek
the blonde
movie.
doctor. What's her name?
I mean,
I forget her character's name.
which
Carol Marcus.
Carol
She's
Marcus.
the-
was anyone
yeah,
asking
daughter.
that? So
Like, well, I don't.
like
I don't think anybody cared.
yeah, that's like
I
the worst part.
I didn't know
trying to add
till-
another female character, and you're like,
Well, we've come to expect that women in Star Trek are fluid. Uhura is the only static female that stays with the crew. Everyone else dies, they get screwed and move on.
I mean, who can really stay on a starship with Captain Kirk for that long? So
Such a plan.
Also, Chris Pine is just turning into William Shatner.
Yeah.
Like the movie starts and there's that profile shot of him, and I feel like he had a prosthetic chin
Yeah.
because he's got that Shatner chin.
Yeah.
And now he's starting to sound like him. Like he's
all
starting.
the voiceover. It was like, okay, what's happening?
Yeah.
What's going on? Is this Shatner? Or is
So they're gonna get the Shatman on board the Enterprise.
But that's good. That means he's acting well.
Yeah.
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 Oh, he's doing great. Like, and also the Spock plotline, which it was nice that they gave Nimoy a send off. They had to. Like,
Yeah.
it's the 50th anniversary movie. They had to do it. I mean, he's Nimoy. He's an icon. But what a weird implication for Spock.
Yeah.
Because didn't he die like
It's
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
like 2 years ago?
he's supposed to be and he's supposed to be Spock in the future?
Yeah, so in the context of the story, he said that he died.
Yeah.
So it's just, like, I get it. I totally get
Is
what
that like
they were
walking
doing.
on your own grave, though?
Yeah,
A
he has,
little
like, a weird
bit.
existential
Yeah.
crisis where he's like, oh,
He's like, I just died. And, like, this person I knew. And you're like, but that's you. So
Yeah,
it's a
that
little
is you.
awkward. I get
It's
it.
you,
but
not you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, like, get what they were doing, but it's still, in the context of the story, a little weird.
Yeah, it's kind of like body odor. It's you, but not you.
Yeah.
You just smell different from the rest of us.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of movies I've talked about these on different episodes, but I kind of want to go over Independence Day, Resurgence, and Legend of Tarzan from your guys' point of view.
Okay.
If you've seen it, right after these messages from our sponsors. Brought to you by these great advertisers.
Spreading the word about your business, service, or products just got a whole lot easier with our advertising packages to fit everyone's budget. Click today to see how easy it is to advertise on TV. Talking Pictures, it's a great way to spread the word.
A movie podcast should have more than just rolling on about the recent movies. It should also have stories, background, maybe hosted by an Emmy Award-winning movie critic. We have that on the Talking Pictures podcast. And welcome back to Talking Pictures. I am Cece Chambers. I am here with some really great guys from Dead Film Society who are producing a series called
Dead
Film Society.
Yeah. Well, how
Nailed it.
apropos.
Hold on. We got to talk about it.
So before we get into talking about more about some movies that are out right now, give me the log line for the series.
The logline, it's a story of 4 students. It's about being in your 20s. It's about these kids who embody filmmaking.
I'll be there for you.
Well, maybe a little less friends, a little more
Spaced, party down, a little
splash of community
So-
in there.
community.
Yeah.
So like our like setup for the show is that it is about life in your 20s. You know, in high school you go through and you kind of move fluidly through cliques and you kind of see the person that you can become. You get a feel for everything. You dip your toes in. In your 20s, you really decide who you're going to be for the rest of your life, which is, you know, pretty big decision. So a lot of us we're in our 20s and we wanted to write about something we know, since obviously none of us have been 50 on a Yiddish farm and raising sheep.
Hey,
So-
no.
Hey.
Yes.
So we wanted to really like make the show and view it with this like rebellion that cinema provides. We're all filmmakers and we all love the cinema, and we found that like filmmaking brings people together, and that's what we wanted to show with our characters. Like we had a teacher, maybe some people listening to this podcast are familiar with. His name was Mark Davis. He recently passed away this year, sadly, and he was a guy who not only taught us a lot about filmmaking and sticking up for what you believe in and what you want to tell, the stories you want to tell, but also he taught us a lot about life in general. And I find that every lesson I've learned through watching movies, through making movies, through thinking about movies, it's really like shaped me as a person.
Yeah.
And we really want the show first and foremost to be about our characters and to be about the experiences and like touchstones you have with other people around you.
It's
And-
these characters told through cinema.
Yeah,
It's
and
their
which-
life in their 20s.
Yeah,
So
that's it.
give me a character that somebody listening can totally relate to.
Okay, I think our 2 main leads are Adam and Allison. Adam is actually played here by our friend Tyler, and Adam's they're kind of 2 different ends of the spectrum, which are us 3 directors were kind of these different spectrums, where Adam's this really hopeful, bright young guy in his early 20s, and he loves film, and he's found this amazing creative expression. There's nothing like filmmaking. There's no real right way to do it. I mean, there's a wrong way.
There's a
Believe
wrong
me.
way. But there's
I-
many different ways you can do it, which, like, one of our pet peeves is anytime someone says, like, this is the way to do it, because there's proof,
That's just bold.
which is just boring, first of all, but there's no right way to make it. Like, you can do whatever. Like, you can have a script, you cannot have a script. It's all, like, your energy, your
Funny,
passion.
that's what I said to my last boyfriend.
You can make Pretty Woman, or you can make Cleo from 5 to 7.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of different avenues you can take. But Adam is the kind of guy who he's got so much hope in his eyes, and he just doesn't know what he doesn't know yet. He's just at this point where he knows what he wants so badly. He wants to be this filmmaker. He wants to be, a Hitchcock or a Truffaut. He wants to be a guy who goes out there and like touches people's
private
great
parts.
Stories. I mean, that too on the side.
But he's young. He's the youngest of the main characters, and like he just hasn't had enough life experience yet to really tell stories yet,
or know that you can tell on your priest,
or tell on your priest.
And Allison is
in
kind
contrast.
of she's on the other end of the spectrum. She's a person who's gone through this. She's had these groups of friends. Everybody around her is doing exactly what she wants to do. She's always known that she wants to, in her case, she wants to be like a cinematographer, and she's always known what she wants to do, but she just can never get it done. She can just never push herself to do what needs to be done or like be successful, and she's just watching everyone around her grow. But I think that like Allison and Adam are a great balance for each other, because Adam has that hope and Allison has, the salt and the reality of what it really takes to be this. They both have similar goals, and that's another kind of beautiful thing about filmmaking is you meet these people, and just like we're doing right now in a room, you just talk about films and you talk about stuff you've seen and stuff you love and stuff you want to see and ideas you have, and you connect with people through that. Like, and art is an amazing thing.
In the same way that we talked about, it's a conversation.
Yeah.
That we're sitting here having a conversation together as a group of people, and to express it visually and almost, just in this like dramaturgy, and to be able to express ideas.
Ooh, say that again.
Dramaturgy.
Say it again.
Dramaturgy. In that sort of in that frame. in that frame, and just express the ideas that you can't say with words. I mean, people write books because they can't tell someone they love them. You know what I mean? And that's
oh my God, I'm wanting to karaoke. I write the songs that make the whole
the other character
sing.
we have is Jake, who's like the actor, and he's kind of like
he's like the actor. He is the actor.
He is the actor, but he's not much of an actor at the start. He has a child actor's mentality of just looking pretty.
I want it now.
Well, he doesn't believe there's work to be put into this. He just thinks he can just
write on his looks.
Oh, there's a lot of Utah models that think that too about acting.
And
hey, I tried. My headshots were great. The cross shots not so much.
And his character is all about like you get what you put into it, and because he represents kind of your middle 20s where you're just like drinking, you're not doing anything, like you're
Isn't
like I don't know what I'm gonna
anyway. I
mean that's mostly your 20s, but like he represents just that period where you're like I don't know what I'm doing. Like I'm stuck here. Like he's Captain Kirk at the start of Star
Welcome
Trek
to
Beyond.
Adulthood.
I know,
None
and
of us know what we're doing.
And that's
we gotta capture that.
Yeah, we wanted to capture like you know what, like you can't just sit here and be like I would make a great thing. You have to just go out and do it. And like
speaking of great things, there are some not so great things, like Independence Day.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I skipped that.
I skipped it.
We've been working so hard on Dead Film Society that like we haven't made it to the cinema as much as we like. So we pick and choose.
Wait for Netflix.
I actually did make it to go see Independence Day.
Tyler, tell us how you really
He's just an actor, so he doesn't have as much work to do.
I was the one who funded the money to go see that. I had high hopes for this film. I mean, because I shouldn't have gone in like this, but I went in immediately just finished watching the first one. So I had like high hopes for the second one. Like, I want to see what they did. Ultimately disappointed. It felt, because the first one is very science fiction with a touch of patriotism, and this one is just patriotism with a touch of science fiction, and it's just, there's so much stuff crammed in this movie too that introduced a new alien race that's felt just too big, and the way I tell people is that it's, they had, the characters in the movie had it took them 20 years to figure out this side plot the aliens had. The makers of the movie had 20 years to come up with a better plot. But
I am tired of him just talking about it. I'm bored just from that pitch.
It's as bad as Tremors.
Oh. Now hold on. Line drawn in the sand.
Literally drawn in the sand. Okay, we all know that Tremors 2 with the innovation. I mean, I think they lose Kevin Bacon in the second one, right? Or does he come back for the second one? They lose him in one of them. But with the ass blasters in Tremors 2, which is cinematic classic. I mean,
masterpiece.
And what's better than Kevin Bacon running and just screaming at the top of his lungs, "I got a goddamn idea!" And he's fighting giant sandworms. They made a TV show out of Tremors.
Oh,
It's a franchise that should stay forever. What's Kevin Bacon doing now besides playing angry dick stepdad? Like, that's what he's
What
been
is
doing.
it? Well, no, he's now the subject of everybody's favorite game. What is it? 2 Connections to Bacon.
7
Oh,
degrees
yeah.
to
7
Kevin
degrees.
Bacon.
Yeah, something like
Degrees,
that.
Which I think I've narrowed it down to 2.
Well,
I had the pleasure of working on The Giver, and in that, I think Meryl Streep's in that, Jeff Bridges, T Swift.
Oh,
I'm sure there's
sorry,
like-
I just picked this up off the floor. It's a name that you dropped.
Yeah, like Tony
Yeah,
knows
so-
Kevin, so I'm just kind of like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I'm sure there's some connection in there. I hope it's through, blessed millennial icon T Swifty.
You
Which-
might want to watch. We have to listen to our viewers right now.
So have you seen? I'm just gonna pick one here.
Yeah.
Have you seen Tarzan?
No.
I've seen the abs. I've seen that poster.
Who asked for that?
I've
like,
seen the
who's
ads.
like, we need another Tarzan
I didn't
movie.
realize it was happening until like,
Wait,
right before it happened.
Who needs a hot man swinging on a rope?
Oh, believe me, I'm 100% there for that.
We have Magic Mike at Set
You
Cell for
go.
that.
Oh, you know.
We have that. I'm just saying, I'm like, who wanted another Tarzan story?
I feel like everything that would have happened in that movie for me to go see it happened in Magic Mike XXL
Which-
with Joe
Maganello?
Naganello.
I'm gonna say that if you watch the cartoon version of Tarzan, a lot of the same storyline is in this one. Okay,
It's
is a
Phil
Disney.
Collins in this new one.
No, but that would have been so.
Out.
Out.
So
Take
out.
my card, I'm out.
Yeah, but it explains a lot of things. Like in the cartoon version, Clayton
Right. Yeah.
is actually Tarzan's name. He's actually Lord Clayton.
My God.
Man.
And he's found, he goes back to England. He's like, he misses Africa, but he's not going back because his nemesis is there.
Right.
And if he goes back, he knows his nemesis is going to attack all the people that he loves, and this, that, and the other. Well, the bad white guy, of course, then makes a deal with the bad black guy, and then Tarzan then makes friends with the bad black guy and says, "Look, I killed your son, but he was a dick, and he killed my mom," you know? And he goes, "Well, how was I supposed to know?" And the bad guy's like, "Well, how was I supposed to know that was your mom was a fucking gorilla?" And
Yeah.
F-bomb.
Shame on you. Shame on you, Tarzan. You
Yeah.
know, people just don't pick that up.
Right. And he's like, "Yeah, but that was my mom, man." And he's like, "Well, I wasn't supposed to know." And he goes, "Well, then how was I supposed to know that was your son?"
Which I feel like is how the actual screenwriting pitch went.
Yeah.
Tarzan, good. A black man, bad. Good white man. Bad white man.
Yeah, I had a good time in the movie because I was like, future husband, future husband, future husband. I'll take all 5 of those. And, I was like, I sound like a slave trader, but I'm really just looking for a husband. What about Mike and Dave need wedding dates?
I would say I'm always there for a little Zac Efron action. I'll look at that for 2.5 hours.
Is it bad that I don't know? I
Do
feel
you
like
have
Zac
extra
Efron.
socks, or do we need to do laundry?
Oh yeah. Let's just skip that one.
I feel like Zac Efron's been making the same rated R comedy for like 3
That's so
years.
true, yeah.
I like forget that a Zac Efron movie's coming
What I
out.
like about him
I
is
just saw one.
they're about community. I mean, we're all in this together.
That's
We're-
called an orgy.
We're in it to win it.
Are you?
We're some other
Wait,
high
what
school
is this?
musical reference.
Insert high school musical reference. Like one movie we loved this year that I still think is at the Broadway because it's just there forever is Sing Street, which was one of our favorites we saw together. Did you see it?
Sing Street.
Do I look like I'm wearing a sundress with a t-shirt under it?
Oh, no.
Oh, we're throwing some Momo shade right now. Oh yeah. Oh man.
Okay, well, we are about out of time. Tell me, I know you guys are looking for more funding for the series, and you are doing a Kickstarter,
Yes, we are.
Yes.
and you have your web address for this?
We have.
What's it on? What can we type into our phones to find this?
You can type in Kickstarter and Dead Film Society.
Search Dead Film Society
Yep.
and
It'll pop right up.
Now,
It'll
did you
just-
get this from Dead Poet Society?
The title, obviously.
It was
like
it just sounded right. Like
It sounds good.
Because
Was it a Melania Trump moment?
I forget that it's vaguely a Dead Poets Society reference.
Yeah.
Like because it hasn't like nothing.
So, is our website address? Where can we find you guys? Or if somebody wants to reach you?
So right now you will find us just through the
Just
Dead
through the
Film Society
Kickstarter.
Kickstarter.
If you desperately need to reach us, it's always deadfilmsocietytv@gmail. That's always an open channel. However, yeah, that's about it.
Okay, do you
We
guys
keep
have
it simple.
We keep it simple.
Just there's
yeah.
one way to reach us. There's not like 8
We're,
avenues.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go through and close up by saying bye-bye. I am CC Chambers here for the Talking Pictures podcast with
Houston Evans.
Tyler Bowers
Cody Rickenow.
and Zach Johnson.
Rickena. I like that. I think you should be slinging guns. Rickena. Wow, wow. Join us next week for the Talking Pictures podcast. The Talking Pictures podcast is produced by Talking Pictures Productions. Executive producer, Tony Toscano. Produced by CC Chambers. Talking Pictures podcast distributed by Geek Factor Radio. Also on SoundCloud, Libsyn, and iTunes.